Hi, Taiwan. So I'm glad to have here today Mr. Xin Wang, the director of Samsara. Then François Klein, here sitting next to me, the producer of A Song Within Us. Mr. Su, the director of A Nod to Moss. And John Xu, the director of A Great Hoax, The Moon Landing. So in this panel, I will leave it to you to introduce your work. You have 10 minutes each, and then we will have a panel discussion all together with the public as well, and the audience perhaps via the live stream. So I'll let you go first, Mr. Su, for A Nod to Moss.
关于这个作品是来自一个音乐叫蘚的歌唱。那我一直在思考说，怎么样让别人可以用 XR， 就是直接进入到音乐里面，然后去想象创作者的画面，然后同时把音乐跟心境做一个非常直接的连接。那这个作品一开始，我是让一个镜面的水，像是一个湖面，安静的产生一点涟漪。那这个涟漪呢，就像是音乐一样，会不断的就是传递到就是耳朵里面，所以我建立了一个山洞。那这个音乐在耳朵里面产生了共鸣之后，我把这个音乐想象成在大脑里面做出了反应。我认为大脑就像一个宇宙，它里面有充满了很多的空间啊，很多的时间。在借由这个大脑的反应之后，我们透过眼睛，然后传达到看见这个光线的感觉，这样。那我就把这个环境塑造在一个太空中的一个太阳，那就是一个眼球。那再从眼球往下延伸，可以让我感觉到音乐跟空气的关系，就我可以感觉到气味，我可以感觉到就是风的感觉。那最后再从这个气味中延伸到回到一开始的大的场景。那对我来讲，这个场景像是一个音乐，很像是一种精神的信仰，所以我把那个牙齿排列成巨石的形状，然后让这个音乐在中间可以再从一开始发出的声音，经过你的身体的各个部位之后，再从你的嘴巴就是传递出另外一个声音。那这是我对一个音乐，然后跟 XR 这种直接让每一个人可以进入到音乐的那个空间的想象，然后可以感觉到你可以在里面自由的走动，然后可以随着音乐跟体验一直到最后像是一个旅程一样。那用的技术是希望可以比较特别是 XR， 是因为它可以让每个戴入这个影像的头盔的人可以走到这个水面上，可以听到水面互动的声音，然后也可以触碰得到，感觉在真实的眼前是这些人跟声音是可以同步在一起的。那这个创作的作品的过程像是一种旅程啊，那随着音乐跟着大脑一起进到创作者想象的空间。那我相信这个东西是一个很实验、很挑战的方式。那可以让每个不一样的音乐可以创造出不同的环境，然后带给大家不同的旅程。大概是这样。
Thank you. Okay. We will now hear François and the story of A Song Within Us.
Yes. So hi everybody. So I'm François Klein, the co-producer of A Song Within Us, written and directed by Fangas Nayao. The experience invites the audience to share a ritual song from an Aboriginal tribe from Taiwan, the Amis tribe. The project is a very it comes from deep from the director, because he's himself a descendant of an Aboriginal tribe, and he wants with this project to bring attention to Aboriginal Taiwanese culture, and what does it mean nowadays to be an Aboriginal and have these roots to this original people from Taiwan before the Han ethnicity come from China mainland to settle in Taiwan Island. The original people from the island was the Aboriginals. So yeah, and he wants to bring light to this culture that is coming back to be trendy nowadays, the Aboriginal culture. And what does it mean thanks to the tools we have through music, through songs, through stage show, how we can bring light again to a more contemporary perspective of Aboriginal culture. And we did this work with Serendipity, the main producer from Taiwan. We had Estela Valdivieso-Chen on the previous conference. And the work was very interesting because it brings together the Tainan University of Arts and their Sound Lab departments to work on how we can immerse the audience in these tribe songs and make the audience participate to it. So we worked both with Taiwan and France. France, we had the Tainan University and the C-Lab project worked with IRCAM in France, which is an important sound research department. And there was a very interesting collaboration between these two countries. On our side, with Digital Rise, we help with all the camera gear, equipment, the post-production, and the interactivity. We thought it was interesting to bring the audience inside this culture and make a connection with a discovery of something that is not that much known abroad. So yeah, I think this is pretty much everything, and it was a very great project, very interesting for us. And I hope Fangas, I think Fangas and I are well pretty like the result. It was delicate to work with the Aboriginal tribe because they tend to be very protective with their culture, and the Fangas worked a lot with the Amis tribe and the elder from the Amis tribe to convince them to work with him on creating this project. And what they liked is the fact that the song we use for a song within us is a song that is played in circle, and everyone sings, and we bring the perspective of the viewer in the center of this circle, and it's an interesting perspective on the ritual that doesn't come often. So yeah, that was interesting to work with both Aboriginal culture from Taiwan and bring new technologies to this, and we are very happy to present it today in NIFFF and in the Museum of Natural History. It makes sense. Yeah, definitely. The encounter of two worlds. And to continue this presentation, Xin Xian Huang, you present the first episode of Samsara. Tell us more about it. Hi, and welcome to NIFFF.
Hi.
Yes.
So, yes, it's my pleasure and honor to be here. So I have a presentation I would like to show. Could you switch to a presentation? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next page. Okay, so samsara is a Sanskrit word that means wandering or the world. And I think the philosophy behind it is that it believes that a life will reincarnate into this world, and also it's also like it's a cyclical of all life. So it means that we will enter this life in different life form again and again. So next, please. So so I think this is the perfect topic for the virtual reality because a couple of years ago I started reading this theory about embodied cognition. And in this theory, it says that why we think as a human and behave like a human because we have human body. So if we have different body, for example, if we have like we have a like a hummingbee's bodies, then we will have collective mind. Or if we have a body of like a bat, then we will hearing sound, which will translate into the visuals. Or if we have multiple personality, it will all give us different perception, and also we will think about this world quite differently. Next page, please. So I think we're all familiar with Franz Kafka's work, The Metamorphosis, which led the Pegasus turn into a beetles. Or if we have a body like trees or like birds, or like, for example, like a insect, which we can see 360 around the world, then it will all give us a very unique perception of the world, and we will think of like more like an insect or like a different creatures. Next page, please. So, for example, like this deity in the Buddhism, his name is Guan Yin. I think it's very interesting because in direct translation, it means seeing sound. So Guan means seeing and the Yin means sound. So I think this also means that we could perceive this world quite differently. So next page, please. So in this VR experience, I would like to use those following theory, for example, like embodied cognition, story living, and give the audience a chance to be being different person or even different live beings. So next page, please. So this is the wheel of samsara, which means that during our lifetime or during our path to this universe, we will go through different phases of life. Next, please. So we may become a different person. We may become a man or become a woman or become different creatures. Next page, please. So in samsara, in the beginning, you will transform into a baby. So this, we spend a lot of time to try to figure out how do you make the audience to feel like babies. So when you stretch your arm, you'll find your arm become like a very, very short. And also you will see the world like the people will turn into a giant in your point of view. Next page, please. And also, like in this thing, when you just see your hand, you will see your hands start to have a lot of blood stains cover your hands. Next page, please. Yeah, and if we go to the next page, please. And can we play the video? Yeah. You play the video, please. You probably need to click on that. Click on the video. Yeah, okay. So in this test, this is our early prototype test. You will see that we are trying to, like when the user, when they reach their hand, they will see, for example, in here, you will see their hands like covered with nose or blood, or even like change to the different ethnic people's hand. Or like the next test, we even put the stigmata on the user's hand. Okay, so I think we just go to the next page then. Okay, so in here you will see that in the beginning, the user or the audience will see they are perpetrators to kill the animals, but later on they found themselves, they become the victim, like a fugitive. They are being banned from the borders. Okay. And the next page, please. Or they will see they become suicide bombers and holding detonators. So when they look down on their bodies, next page, please. They will see their body like stripped with the explosive and ready to explode. And next page, please. Or they will find themselves like become the victim of the nuclear war, and all their hands become burned and swelled. Okay, next page, please. And also, this is a thing in the space shuttle that the audience start to leaving the Earth, and then go to the next page. And then they will find that they will become this wreckage of the space shuttle. And next page. And then in the next scene, the audience will find themselves start to be repaired by this medical chambers by the artificial intelligence. But when they see their hands, they will see their hands like their muscles and blood cells, veins, and all exposed to the air. Okay, next page, please. And then after that, I want the audience feel that they are being transformed into different beings. So could you play this video? Just click on the video. So in here, you will see that it's kind of like their body turning into this single cell organism, and their hands can merge together. In here, I think the audience will feel like very, very different, or like this, they are turning into a creature with tentacles. Or like this one, the audience hands will duplicate and become like they have like 6 hands, and in each fingers they will have this palms duplicate to the tip of their hands. Or here is another creature that the audience will find that their hand is like they turn into the chameleon, and they can change their colors according to the environment. And so I think I will just stop here. This is kind of like some of the snippet from the Samsara. So I think the key point is that I would like to the audience to completely transform or stage by stage gradually into a completely different beings, and to feel that what's that like to be other beings. And I think this is what I want the audience to feel in my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now we'll follow up with the last work. It's John Su with the great hoax, the moon landing. Hi. Hi, John. Nice having you here.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, it's my pleasure too. Great Hoax, the Moon Landing is my second VR project. It's also my very first interactive VR experience, because my first VR project was a 360 video called Your Spiritual Temple Sucks. I think that the Grace from the last panel has already mentioned that. With Great Hoax, what we were trying to do is to, it was because when we were making Your Spiritual Temple Sucks, I kind of feel that I had this urge as an audience, as the user, to be able to interact with the world more. So with Great Hoax, what we tried was that we implemented the interactive nature of a real-time experience to implement it with the narrative. So it started basically from an invitation from Kaohsiung Film Festival, and also the public television channel PTS in Taiwan. They wanted to make it like some kind of an anniversary of the Apollo 11 operation. So they invited me to make something about it. So because most of my previous works has been satires or comedies, so it was quite natural to me to make it into some kind of like a satirical interactive experience. So what came to me in the first is that I was thinking about what kind of a relationship we actually have as a Taiwanese to this world famous moon landing operation, which is kind of like you can say that there's almost no connection with Taiwan. That we're celebrating something that have nothing to do with us. So that kind of became the part of the main joke of the project. That what if the Taiwanese government want to recreate a moon landing, but we lack the funding like the greater countries like America, and they started following this kind of a conspiracy theory that what if we fake our own moon landing and pretend that it's real. So the whole concept of this experience was that you are the player is hired by a group of people, and there's a film director asking you to do a series of performances to fake a moon landing. So you're basically in this kind of like a virtual studio and doing stuff that the director asks you to do, and then you're going to see yourself as the fake astronaut that's appearing on the screen, and realize that none of this operation is real and none of this is about you. So it's like we're playing with this illusion of choice from the user and the narrator itself. So that's kind of like the whole concept. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Now everybody has heard then about the 4 pieces of XR work being featured at the Museum of Natural History here in Neuchâtel. There is Samsara, the embodied and story living experience. There is a song within us that is a sound interactive experience in a dome, right? For 5 people, or it can be in a dome, but it can also be in a, yeah.
It has been designed to the best experience.
Yeah.
The best way you can experience it. But for more convenience, we present it in a classic VR headset.
VR headset, yep.
We adapt it.
Okay, cool. And then a nod to Moss that is a musical immersive experiment. And then The Great Hoax, the Moon Landing, that is an interactive political satire. So I wonder if there are any questions in the audience, both on and offline. I will give somebody will pass through with a microphone, so please raise your hand. Yep, there is somebody at the back. Ask your question, thank you. Microphone, it's coming.
What's the question?
She had a question over there, right?
Can you raise your hand again?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a question. On Pooh, so this is a question for a nod to Moss. There is this singer on Pooh. Is she a very famous, or what type of singer is this person in real life? Because obviously it's based on her song, and most of the script is based on that music. So I had this question for you.
OK， 所以我先回答吗？好，安普这个歌手是在台湾，我认为是创作形态，然后非常非常强的。那他在台湾非常的有名，我觉得在亚洲上面也算是非常有知名度的。那他不像一般的歌手一样，他的东西非常有创作性。那如果这样说，这首歌它其实蛮挑战这个流行音乐或这个时代，它具备了蛮多要怎么形容呢？它是具备了蛮多就是创造性的啦，我觉得蛮突破格局的。那或许会有蛮多人不太能理解，但是其实它的艺术成分是非常高。那毋庸置疑，它可能在台湾或者在亚洲是一定有非常大的知名度。可是我相信它未来也依然会是非常厉害的创作者。
I want to come back to you, François, with a song within us. So what's the today's relationship between the Aborigines people and the current Taiwanese civilization? Do they know of each other? Is it something that impregnates the society there, or did you have to do a historical piece somehow, or a pedagogical piece?
You mean related to the project?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we've been this far. One thing is for sure is that Aboriginal tribes are still existing today. There's I don't want to tell a bad number, but I think there's still like 16 or 18 official tribes in Taiwanese island. They became a minority part of the population. I think it's 1 on 4 people or 6 people. But I don't want to provide false number. But for sure, the Fangas Naiwo, sorry, wanted to address to raise up the culture of the roots, because the whole songs is leading the audience to an introspective spirit about reconnecting with your roots, with Earth. It's there's an environmental meanings of the songs. And it's somehow political too, because the Aboriginal have difficult time nowadays to exist and be part of the society and being considered as equal as the other ethnicities of the island. But you know, the Aboriginal tribe in Taiwan are important for the history of the island and creates an international identity with a long history of people living there. And it can be interesting for an international recognition of Taiwan history and background and for the future of the island. Yeah, that's why I enjoyed worked on this project, and I pretty much enjoy the work of Fangas with this.
Okay, so speaking of co-production, how I will ask you the question and then go back to John Su, because you both have co-productions with your project that is shown here, and how come a French guy suddenly ended up in the Taiwanese backcountry to film, you know, the Aborigines? And the same I will ask from you, John Su, about your co-production with Argentina, and how come? So first you, François, and then you, John.
Well, A Song Within Us is somehow linked to the first. It's a second co-production we did with Taiwan and with a Serendipity film. The first one was Mechanical Souls, as Aurélien and Grace and Estella talked about in the previous conference. So we had this opportunity to create a first international co-production with Taiwan in VR. And as things works pretty nice, we wanted to push the collaboration furthermore in this second work. And this is how things happen. We enjoy the show, and we are still working a little bit on maybe doing it a documentary series about Pacific tribes. There's still opportunities on the book.
Okay, great. And you, John?
Yeah, and since we share the same production company with François, which is Serendipity, I think their approach has always been finding an international partner whenever it's from. So when I remember that when we started this project early on, that we know that we're going to need extra help besides the Taiwanese company, because the animation experience and scale and the quality that we need for Great Host is a little bit beyond what a Taiwanese animation company can do. And also I think it was when I was in South by Southwest, it was in 2018 or no, 2019, that where I saw one of the most famous VR project, which is Gloomy Eyes from 3DAR. And that's when the first time I saw something from them, and I was blown away by the quality and the scale of narrative that they managed to put off. So we started to approach to them and pitch this concept of Grey Hoax to them, and they're in great interest too. And although the nature of Grey Hoax is the political satire that's completely about the situation and the identity crisis of Taiwan, but somehow there is a universal tone that the 3DAR, which is in Argentina, that they are also managed to understand this feeling of a lack of identity. So we started this cooperation, and I remember that I flew to Buenos Aires to pin down the animation, the performance direction, and then we pretty much just finished everything online for the rest of it. So it was quite a unique experience for me as well.
Excellent. And so with Argentina, and would you are you planning on a future co-productions? Any of you? Well, you just said that you might further your Taiwanese co-production experience, and you, the three of you in Taiwan, do you foresee co-production with any other country in the near future?
Switzerland, maybe?
Yes. Whoop, whoop. Nope. Nobody? No co-production? Any questions from the public? From the audience? Yes? Sue?
也蛮想到欧洲国家，看看可不可以用不一样的方式，然后试看看与当地的人合作，看看新的可能性。那也可能会跟 HTC， 就是像这次跟 HTC 合作，其实是蛮愉快的。那他们也非常的帮忙，还有这个作品，所以还是很希望可以跟 HTC 或者跟其他欧洲国家的团队合作看看，这样。
Good to hear. Thank you. Anybody from the audience? Questions? You have one?
I do have a question. Yeah. We see not much of XR here in Switzerland, and I was wondering how it is in Taiwan. I mean, here in Switzerland is mostly video games, but is there in Taiwan something like apps that are more useful, or is it more creative content? Could you say a word about it?
Yeah, actually, it's a very good question that I had saved for the first panel. But yes, it's how do you manage to have this thriving scene exactly? Like here, we don't see much of it. So, what's your take? John?
未来的电影
Yes? Is it?
我觉得未来的电影可能会改变很多，就是观众的体验。就是说，电影的故事可能可以让自己可以走到整个故事里面，然后还产生互动。所以它是一个很开放性的结局，或是引导式的故事方式，就是你可以完全的沉溺在场景中，像是自己就是故事的角色，看着这个世界在发生的事情。所以在台湾其实已经走往这个方向在前进。对，那未来很有可能就是它不管用在艺术上，或者结合在手机上。或是未来在商业的购物上，或是演唱会上，其实会有蛮大的改变。
Yes, thank you very much. I think that's the key to XR. Really, it's the engagement, it's the interaction, it's also the embodiment, and all this can be really experienced with your content and your creations. By the way, these 4 men here are award nominees and winners. They are the leading producers, directors of today's immersive community, which is still small, and it's a honor to be able to speak to each other, because perhaps in a few years' time you will all be featured at the Cannes XR competition, and you'll have an Oscar of your own, so you won't be talking to us here, Earthlings, anymore. So we thank you for giving us the time of day. I know it's evening at your place in Taiwan, and wishing you a lovely evening. Thank you, François, for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for lending us your beautiful content at the NIFFF. That will be a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.